Perhaps with Manchester United versus Chelsea game last night. Our game against Brentford, the way we let it go at the last minute after we came from behind to lead 2-1 shows our inability to close out game, having taken the lead in the last minute. The Bayern Munich game, the way we actually let it slip away too, due to mistakes and the naivety in our defense line, was something that begins to make some of the fans to be worried. In this game, talking about the Manchester United versus Chelsea game last night at Old Trafford, it wasn't just a mistake, it was catastrophic, as Chelsea lost 2-1 at Old Trafford. It goes to show that Chelsea are unable to defeat Manchester United at Old Trafford for 13 years running. You can have all the class and qualities of players you need in a squad. You can have all the players in a team that can actually make things going for you, which I strongly believe Chelsea currently have that quality. But it rests on the shoulders of the manager to make good decisions that will favor the club. Looking at what actually went down last night, Manchester United started the game in a very high frequency, and 2 minutes into the game, Benjamin Sesko flicked a pass through to Brian Mbeumo, who actually, with his pace, strength and energy, beats the Chelsea defense line, going one-on-one with Chelsea goalkeeper, talking about Robert Sanchez. Robert Sanchez, out of the goal line, came out. Now, all Robert Sanchez needed to do was to spread out wide. If Brian Mbeumo beats him and gets the goal for Manchester United, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Because I strongly believe that going forward, Chelsea have the quality that will equalize should Brian Mbeumo have went on to beat Robert Sanchez and score that goal. But what did Robert Sanchez did? At that point, I really don't know what was running through the mind of Robert Sanchez. But what he did was to go out as if he wanted to fight Kung Fu, stretch his leg, and foul Brian Mbeumo. And the referee, without hesitation, because he was the last man at that point in time, and he has actually obstructed a goal-scoring opportunity, brought out his red card, and Robert Sanchez was sent off for a straight red card, bringing Chelsea down to 10 men. That action by Robert Sanchez was very stupid. That was not what a goalkeeper is supposed to do, knowing fully well that you are the last man. And the game just started 3 minutes into the game. How could you have actually thought of going with your legs, having missed the ball? Definitely, he should have known better that it would be a straight red card. Robert Sanchez should have known better. But no, he decided to put Chelsea in a very difficult situation all through the entire 90 minutes of the game. So Chelsea were down to 10 men. And at this point in time, the game was no longer in the hand of the player, but rather the game is now in the hand of Sanchez And Maresca, talking about the Chelsea manager. What he does at this point would actually test his managerial, his management capability and prowess in that particular game. Definitely, a player needed to be sacrificed. And what did Sanchez And Maresca do? Sanchez And Maresca immediately sacrificed Gustavo William and brought in Jorgensen so that Chelsea will have a goalkeeper. Normal. But in my opinion, Gustavo William is not supposed to be the player to be sacrificed, because we needed Gustavo William in that right flank or in that right wing to actually run down Luke Shaw and Patrick Doku alongside with the assistance of Rhys James in that flank. And that would have been one advantage that Chelsea would have had in that encounter alongside the midfielders. But Enzo Maresca, because in my opinion, actually activated the panic button. And from that spot, Enzo Maresca blew the game with his hand. He sacrificed Estavo Willian, brought in Philip Jorgensen, and Jorgensen came in. Estavo was out. A minute later, to tell you that Enzo Maresca actually threw the game away. A minute later, he brought out Pedro Neto and actually introduced Tosin Adarabioyo again. Within the space of 1 minute, 2 quick substitutions. Now, Manchester United were in total control of the game, having the numerical advantage in their favour. The game goes on as Chelsea have been reduced to 10 men. In the 14th minute, Patrick Doku with the cross and quick foot by Bruno Fernandes in the box of Chelsea ran in to tap in the ball, and it was a goal. Bruno Fernandes gave Manchester United the lead at the 14th minute. But that goal should have been contested. Bruno Fernandes that scored certainly was not offside. Bruno was not off. But Chelsea player, talking about Trevoh Chalobah, that kept him on, have also a Manchester United player in front of him, because obviously that player have obstructed view for Trevoh Chalobah. The VAR in checking that goal did not look at the player in front of Trevoh Chalobah, who was already offside and have obstructed the view of Trevoh Chalobah, went on to only take a look at Trevoh Chalobah footage and that of Bruno Fernandes. And the goal stood. Manchester United were ahead 1-0. No thanks to Robert Sanchez, who have actually put Chelsea in this tight corner, because Chelsea were down to 10 men. But like I said, the searchlight have now actually left Robert Sanchez, that actually got a straight red card. It was now on the manager, who has actually missed his tactical ability because of the red card that was shown to Robert Sanchez. 23 minutes later, precisely in the 37th minute, Casemiro double Manchester United lead at the 37th minute, and it was 2-0. Manchester United 2 and Chelsea 0. Chelsea at this point knew that they were actually in a very tight corner. In fact, they were in for little or nothing. But they kept their composure, kept their confidence. I mean, one man I must definitely salute is physicality, his strength, his energy in the heart of Chelsea midfield is Moses Caicedo. He was actually everywhere. One could understand the substitute that Enzo Maresca actually made. At this point, he has given up the game, that he knew that Manchester United would have a field day. But he wanted to see how he could on his own reduce the scoreline, because that is how I see it. Enzo Maresca wanted to reduce the scoreline. Because I see no reason, before Manchester United's second goal, you've actually substituted Cole Palmer to bring in Andre Santos. And that means, in the space of 20 minutes in that first half, Enzo Maresca have actually substituted all his 3 attacking midfielders, talking about the creativity in the team. Meaning, he zeroed his mind that he doesn't think Chelsea have anything to do going forward in that particular encounter. So, in the 45th minute, 9 minutes at that time, 45th minute plus 5 minutes, Casemiro was shown a second yellow and he gets the matching order. And this time, Manchester United also down to 10 men. And this is where it actually gets interesting. Because you will begin to wonder, this is where you will begin to wonder the kind of mistakes that Enzo Maresca has actually made. The first half ended, Manchester United down to 10 men, and Chelsea already playing 10 men right from the second minute of the blast of the whistle. Going into the second half of the game, Manchester United haven't come down to 10 men. Immediately, Ruben Amorim make a quick substitute to bring in Ugarte to partner Bruno Fernandes in the midfield, since Casemiro was sent off. But in the second half of the game, Chelsea were now in total control of the game. Chelsea were in total control of the game. The tempo with which Manchester United were actually playing dropped. One can argue that Manchester United already are leading 2-0. So all they just need to do is to see how they can lock out the game completely to secure the all needed 3 points. Because indeed, going into this game, Manchester United actually needed the 3 points in order to steady their season, having been in a very precarious situation from the beginning of since the Premier League started this season. So, Chelsea on the other hand, keep pressing. We're now in control of the game. We got our first shot on target, and we are in total control, in possession of the ball. This time around, we dictate play, while Manchester United were now depending on a counter play. And that was what they have resulted into, because match to match, 11 versus 11, Chelsea would have been in total control of the game ahead of Manchester United. But it becomes very dicey looking at the decision that Sanchez Maresca will need to make now that Manchester United are down to 10 men. Remember, in the Chelsea side now, we have almost about 6 defenders in that game. Marc Cucurella was still on. Trevor Chalobah was there. Tosin Adarabioyo was there. Rhys James was there. Wesley Fofana was still in. And also the two deep-seated midfielder, talking about Moses Caicedo and Andre Santos, that was introduced into the game. So we have about 7 defensive-minded players. Only 2 to be more attacking-minded. Talking about Enzo Fernandez and Joao Pedro. Now, 3 substitutes gone already. 2 more to go. Sanchez And Maresca this time around, Manchester United haven't gone down to 10 men. At this point, Chelsea needed creativity in order to see if we can get something out of the game. And Chelsea keep pressing. And so Maresca, on the next substitute, in my opinion, I was thinking, okay, you need to sacrifice defenders now, such that you can bring in an attacking players in order to push Manchester United more backward and also create chance if the goal will definitely come. And what did Sanchez Maresca did? Take out Wesley Fofana and Marc Cucurella, and in turn brought in Malo Gusto to play from the left wing, and also Tyreek George. For crying out loud, that was a blunder. And so Maresca actually missed it because he never knew what he was doing at this point. We're looking for creativity, no disrespect to the players he actually brought in, talking about Malo Gusto and Tyreek George. But you still have Rhys James inside the pitch. Why bring in Malo Gusto? Manchester United at this point are down to 10. And you have attacking players on the bench. You have Alejandro Garnacho. You have Johnny Gittins. One is expected that, okay, either of those players, you should have brought either Gittins or Alejandro Garnacho to come on. No, but you went for Malo Gusto, playing him at the left back. No disrespect. In fact, because Malo Gusto actually had an impact coming in and playing from the left wing of the field. But why Tyreek George? You're talking about Tyreek George. This is one player, if not that the paperwork did not go through in the transfer deadline day, Tyreek George should have been a Fulham player, even as we speak now. You love Tyreek George that much that you will be using him in games, in crucial games like this, but you wanted to sell him. So, going on, Tyreek George came on, Malo Gusto actually came on. Chelsea keep pressing and keeping the momentum. At the 80th minute, what a beautiful cross from Rhys James that resulted from a corner. Rhys James made that wonderful cross, and Trevor Chalobah with a beautiful header into the net. Chelsea were back into the game with 10 minutes left to play. At this point, what Chelsea needed more, we needed that creativity that would keep pushing Manchester United backward, and we would have gotten that needed equalizer. But after that goal, it's as if Chelsea went cold. The creativity was not there. There was no player to push forward. Chelsea were just cold. And the game went on. The 80th minute, Chelsea got that one goal back into the game. But that was how it all went. It all went. And Chelsea, at this point, couldn't actually get anything out of the game. And it ended Manchester United 2, Chelsea 1. So it therefore went on to mean that for 13 years, Chelsea will still be looking for a win at Old Trafford. I think at this point, one can boldly say that Enzo Maresca and Robert Sanchez actually blew the game. This one wasn't a mistake. It was catastrophic from both Enzo Maresca and Robert Sanchez that actually got red carded in the third minute of that game. This was a tactical error because you can't have all your three creative players taken out from a game all because you are one man down. So it was an error from Enzo Maresca, and that actually cost Chelsea to lose the game, giving a struggling Manchester United all needed 3 points. And I just hope it was a good win, but did Manchester United actually deserve to win? In my opinion, I don't think so. Because if we were complete, 11 to 11, 10 to 10, Chelsea would have defeated Manchester United in that clash yesterday. But it is what it is because it's football. Red card is part of the game. When you are not disciplined, the referee will definitely bring out the card. So, that was how it ended at Old Trafford. That is my match preview for Manchester United versus Chelsea. What did you make of the performance in that particular game last night? Who impressed you the most and who disappointed in the game? Drop your comment down below. Thank you very much for watching and catch you in my next video. Bye.